Today, let's dive into one of our major control systems in the body, our nervous system. And our learning objectives for today are to list the functions of the nervous system and its two major cell types, to compare the central and the peripheral nervous systems, and also to diagram the electrical signal of our neurons. So to start off, the nervous system is what it functions to integrate stimuli. So if you're sitting here watching this video, you are taking in the visual cue from the video. Maybe you're listening to some music in the background, or you can hear the birds chirping if you're watching this outside. You might be also texting while watching this video, so you're using your hands, you're holding your posture in your chair. All of that information is coming into your brain, and this is what we call our sensory input. So this is the information from the world coming into your nervous system. And your nervous system, mainly your brain, is what integrates that information. It takes it all in, it looks at your memory and your skill set and your emotional state, and it comes up with a plan for your body with how to deal with what's happening. So for watching this video, you might say, that's an important point, I'm going to jot that down. And that would be your motor output. So it's your brain is going to send a signal to your hand to start taking notes. And we can divide our nervous system into two major branches. We have our central nervous system, which is composed of our brain and our skull, and our spinal cord, which runs down your vertebral column in your back. And your peripheral nervous system is more of the miscellaneous category. So it's everything else. It's all of the nerves in your body that innervate and turn on all your muscles and your organs, and ganglia, which are the cell bodies and the collections of those nerves. So there are two major cell types in our nervous system. The first I want to talk about are the often forgotten heroes of the nervous system, are glia cells. They're relegated to a second-class citizenship here, as they're generally considered just the support cells of the nervous system, but they do some complex and important functions. So we have different types of glia that do different things. You have astrocytes, which help connect your blood vessels to your neurons, and this is how your neurons get all the nutrients that they need. You have microglia, which are the immune cells of your nervous system, and they scavenge around and eat up any sort of bacteria or invaders. You also have glia cells that line the fluid-filled cavities of your ventricles, and they have little cilia, little hairs that beat and move the fluid around. And in your peripheral nervous system, again, the nerves of your body, you have Schwann cells which coat your nerves in something called myelin. And myelin is this fatty insulating layer. In a way, you can think of it like an electrical wire. The neuron would be the electrical wire, and the Schwann cell, making that myelin, would be the layer around the wire that helps keep the electrical signal inside. You also have satellite cells in your peripheral nervous system that act as sort of cushions around our cell bodies. And so without our glia, your neurons would not be able to function correctly. What do those neurons do exactly? They transmit messages. They are electric. So shown here is a neuron, and you can see the round cell body and the longer axons and all of these processes shooting out, all these little strings. They're part of the neuron. And they're reaching out and connecting to other neurons and target organs and doing all of the vital work of sending and receiving messages. And this electrical signal in biology is caused by the movement of salt. So we're not talking about the same sort of electricity in a wire. We're not focusing on electrons. Instead, we're going to be looking at the movement of sodium and potassium, which are positively charged ions. This is our electrical signal. At rest, a neuron has what we call a distribution of charge. There's a difference on what is happening inside the neuron versus what's happening outside the neuron. So normally at rest, the neuron has a bunch of negative charge on the inside, positive charge on the outside. You can think of this like a little battery. If you've ever played with batteries in elementary school and set up those little circuits, the same is true here. We've got that positive end and a negative end on the inside. And when an electrical signal is moving down a neuron, when that neuron is firing or sending a signal, we're looking at that wave of positive charge coming in and then going out. And that is shown here with the arrow. You can see positive charge coming in that brown color, and that moves down our neuron, and then eventually the positive charge will leave. And it's in those two salts that we talked about. The movement of sodium first, sodium coming in, bringing that positive charge inside the neuron, and then potassium going out, taking that positive charge outside of the neuron. And the electrical signal of a neuron, you can think of it as a wave of positive charge. But for neurons, it doesn't just stop with the electrical signal. At the end of the neuron, there is a structure called a synapse. And a synapse is where that neuron meets either another neuron or a target like a muscle or a gland. And the synapse is where you're going to see a shift from the electrical signal, the movement of salt, the movement of that positive charge, to a chemical signal. And the electrical impulse, when it reaches the synapse, will tell the neuron release the chemicals, shown here as these little pink balls, which will float out and will attach to the membrane of another neuron, and it will start the process in that other neuron or in that target organ. So in summary, we talked about the parts of the nervous system and what it does. It integrates stimuli in both your central nervous system, brain, spinal cord, peripheral nervous system, your neurons in the body. And it's composed mainly of two cell types. We've got glia, the support cells, and then we've got neurons, which are more like the superheroes here. And they are electric. They send electrical signals through movement of salt ions, waves of positive charge, and also through chemical signaling. Next time, we'll talk about how those neurons are organized into the structure we call the brain.